It's difficult to talk after such a great presentation. Good morning, and it is actually very exciting and energizing to be here in California, the birthplace of entrepreneurship, talking about entrepreneurship. And I hope that after this session I will have energized you enough so that we can work together and collaborate together to spread the spirit of entrepreneurship in the Arab region, a region that is in much need of this kind of spirit. So I'll just start with my personal story. In 1999, I was studying at MIT. It was the internet bubble, lots of internet hype, and like everybody, I wanted to start a company. So I participated in the MIT 100K competition, and thanks to that, started a business. And I loved everything about the experience. I loved the people I met, having access to great talent that helped me start the company, served on the board, having access to capital, being surrounded by people who think differently, who like getting out of their comfort zone. So all this energized me, and I can say that I became a different person. About 5 years later, in 2004, I went to the Arab region for family reasons, and although I'm a Lebanese citizen, I knew very little about this region. And what struck me is how young the population is, how much energy it has, and how much talent there is. And this contrasted with the alarming economic situation, where in many countries, youth unemployment rate is about 40%. So I decided I should do something to bridge that gap, and the solution for me was to channel the energy from young people into entrepreneurship in order to create jobs, promote the right values that often go with entrepreneurship, and empower the leaders of tomorrow. So I started the MIT Arab Business Plan competition, and the success of this competition surprised me from the first year, where I was expecting just 200 applications, and I got 2,000 of them. And we now receive over 4,000 applications from 20 Arab countries, and we've estimated that we've helped about 200 companies establish themselves in the Arab region, creating 2,000 knowledge-based jobs, and we empower over 12,000 entrepreneurs every year. So I'll share with you some examples of people that we have promoted and helped establish their businesses in the region. The first one is Hind Hbai'a from Lebanon. She's the winner of this year. Hind, when I first met her 2 years ago, she was a very shy swimmer that got very frustrated at looking at her friends who run, showing off their fancy watches that give you a heart rate and how fast you've been running and the distance you've been running. So as a swimmer, she didn't have that. And she's a mechanical engineer, so she developed a prototype and has now a prototype for goggles that give you your heart rate, how many laps you've been swimming, the distance you've been swimming. And after she has won, we've also helped her test her prototype on Olympic swimmers in London this summer. She now has the CEO of Arena, which is a swimming sports company, on her board, and she comes from a very simple background in Lebanon. The other example is Abdelrahman Tarabzouni from Saudi Arabia, who also comes from a suburb of a very small town in Saudi Arabia, but he's very ambitious and likes programming, so he has developed this software that prioritizes your emails. So, for example, if you receive an email from Tom Siebel, chances are you're going to read it right away. If I send you an email, you're going to probably wait 15 minutes before reading it. So this software prioritizes your emails, and he has sold this solution to Google, because we work with a number of partners that wait actually for who is going to be the finalists of the MIT Arab Business Plan competition, and Google is one of them. So this put him on the radar screen. And now if you use Gmail, you have the prioritization option on Gmail, and this is Abdelrahman who developed that. Another example is Sami Khraibi from Palestine. He's an environmental engineer who wanted to develop solar panels that are highly efficient under severe weather conditions in the desert with lots of dust, lots of sun, and lots of heat. So now he has a solution that can be turned into a power plant, and he's actually prototyping this in Abu Dhabi. And finally, Perihan Abu Zaid from Egypt, who started her company as a social venture during the Arab Spring, capturing videos on the ground about what was going on in Egypt during the Arab Spring and posting it on a website. And she got lots of media interest of people wanting her videos. So she started the first and now largest crowdsourced video portal for the Arab region, and she's become profitable. So as you can see from these stories, there are a number of unexpected discoveries that were even unexpected to me. And the first one of them is to see that about half of the applications we get have women on the team. And this is a statistic that when I shared it with other people who run business plan competitions around the world, it's, I think, the highest participation rate of women. And that's quite surprising and goes against what we usually think of the Arab region. And I was actually at Stanford on Friday, visiting their Center on Democracy, Development, and the Rule of Law. I think this is the title of it. And they were just conducting a survey among Stanford grads, what images they associate with the word Arab. And there were 3 images. The first one is obviously a terrorist. The second one is an oppressed woman. And the third one is an oil sheikh. So I feel that this community, being educated and enlightened, has now some examples to share of what an Arab can also look like. One other unexpected discovery is that I was thinking that most of the people that would apply to this competition would come up with Me Too ideas, like the Amazon of the Middle East or another e-commerce website. But in fact, they're innovators, and I'm very proud to say that we're sending 5 of them to the MIT Emerging Technology Conference, the MTech conference, 2 weeks from now, to Boston to participate in the TR35, the top 10 innovators that are under 35 from around the world. And finally, especially in this context of lots of, in the recent weeks or months, anti-American images spread over the media in the Middle East, I would like to say that all these entrepreneurs, these Arab entrepreneurs, look up to people like Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or Tom Siebel, American entrepreneurs. They look up to them and they use them as role models to inspire them on their journey of entrepreneurship. Finally, just some lessons learned on a personal level and that I would like to share with you. They're written on that slide. Yesterday we had David Brooks saying that we started off well in life and brilliant, dazzling, but by the age of 40, which is next year for me, so I started stressing out what am I going to do to change this curse of fate. So to remain dazzling and live up to being a Siebel Scholar, I think if we dream big, very, very big, because the bigger the dream, the bigger the realization, and if we dare to think differently and to stand by our values, I think it's a statement in itself. And if we go, as Tom suggested this morning, to an area where we're not really expected, like when I go to Yemen or Libya in deprived areas, and I say, I come from MIT and I want to help you start your business, the first thing they do is Google what is MIT, and then they look at me and say, wow, what are you doing here? What brings you here? What's in it for you? And I think my answer to that is we're not just any MIT student or any Stanford student or any UC Berkeley student. We're a Siebel Scholar, and we've been shown the way to philanthropy and to giving back very early on in life. And so I think this is a recipe to just stay dazzling. Thank you.
Thank Jimmy Zhang. Sorry. Hi, I'm Jimmy Zhang, Tsinghua CS 2012. So what I'm really interested about is you're talking about starting business in Arab countries. But from what I know is that there might be some conflict between the historic way of the customs of Arab nations and the modern business, the modern way of doing business. For example, like many people don't accept like interest rate, this kind of concept, or it's not. Some nations might not want the woman to go out to work. So, do you think is there any way that we can find a way at helping these entrepreneurs, but at the same time respect the Arab culture and make them more at home, not doing business in their own home country? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Well, the youth in the Arab region is certainly very different from what you're describing. Yes, there are some people that are conservative, but at the same time, there are some people who are daring. And I think putting all these entrepreneurs together, I feel courage is contagious. So you putting them together, they have innovative ideas, they do business like everywhere else in the world, and if they're successful and they make money, they become role models for other people. To be honest, among the people that I see every year, these issues sometimes come into play for women, but not very much the issue of interest rates. Or in today's world, what is great is you just need an internet connection and you can start a business wherever you are. So I feel these challenges, yes, they exist, but usually they can bypass this kind of easily because they see other people doing like them. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Robin Tang. I'm a class of 2013 Siebel Scholar from Kellogg School of Management. Thank you for being here and sharing with us your venture. It sounds a very exciting opportunity. My question is, you mentioned in your presentation that in your first year, there are about 2,000 applications when you were only expecting around 200. So obviously, there's a lot of factors attributed to like a lot of opportunity in the Arab region, but I'm curious, have you ever reflected on what you have done in the first year to really help market that particular business plan competition to generate that demand? Because I think that for a lot of people who are interested in doing their own venture, customer acquisition is always a really hard piece, and it seems like you have done a really good job getting the customer interest and demand. So I'm just curious what you have done.
Wow, thank you. Well, this is a great question, too. And as I dream big, I don't want 4,000, I want 1 million now applications. And so what we've been doing, doing university roadshows to every single university in the Arab region, finding people on the ground that would go and talk about the business plan competition. So this implies visiting about 20 universities per country. We've had also a digital campaign, and we partner with Google in the region that does our digital campaign for free across all the Arab region, because usually these entrepreneurs are online. Everybody's online today. And then another thing, and I don't know if I have the slide, we have, exactly, the one before. We have a TV campaign. I've knocked on every single television in the Arab region, and they gave us spots at prime time for free to run this ad that says, because we did this study with the Kaufman Foundation that promotes entrepreneurship around the world. If you ask students like you in the US who they want to be like, who's their role model, they come up with names such as Steve Jobs. And in that region, they went blank. They have nothing, no role model. So we started this campaign, Meet the Next Bill Gates, and then we got into local names of entrepreneurs from the region to promote role models from the region. Randa Ayoubi is a Jordanian who founded a gaming company, animation company, Mo Brahim, and Paul knows him. He's a founder of Celtec. He's a Sudani who also works in Morocco. Samih Darwaza is also Jordanian, started a pharma company. And then the campaign ends saying, be the next Bill Gates. So apply now to the MIT Arab Business Plan competition. And this has been running on all TV channels, and we impact millions of people every year, because it's not just you apply, but you want also your family and friends to support you when you apply, because these are the ones that tell you should go find a job instead of starting your company, you should go work for the government, or you should go, I don't know. So we really want the family as a support group, and if they have seen this campaign, then they become very proud of their son or brother starting a company and applying to the MIT Arab Business Plan competition.
Hi, I'm Rohit Singh. I'm a class of 2013 MIT Computer Science Siebel Scholar. So you talked about 100K, and I was wondering, what is the difference between the model that you're using for this business plan competition and something like 100K? And what aspect of it do you think was the most difficult for you, like getting sponsors, getting judges, getting role models, whatever?
Well, the greatest challenge is a logistical challenge. This is why I was very impressed by the job that was done for this conference. We cover 20 countries. These entrepreneurs are spread out around the region. I have about 1,000 judges for this competition. If you want to join, that would be great. And they're spread out across the Arab countries. So everything is possible thanks to an incredible online platform. We have 5 engineers working. No, it's something developed in-house. And judges have remote access to the applications, to the grading, making sure the grading is fair, because when you receive 4,000 applications, making sure you're really choosing the top 50 that deserve to be there. So we have every application is graded 10 times. We put every juror on a curve to see, because some jurors grade very severely, other ones are looser in their grading because they think it's already great to have applied. So we put them on a curve, and we make sure we correct for any bias that there could be. So statistics is really at the heart of what we do, and then we review them to make sure that the top 50 really deserve to be among the top 50. So that has been a great challenge.
Sounds like a terrific initiative. I was wondering, though, how about for the winners? Is there much infrastructure, or have you had to focus much on the infrastructure that's there to support the winners after they are selected, in terms of getting to the next level and turning into the next Microsoft or Google? Is venture capital an issue, or what are the big challenges for the winners as they try to advance the businesses?
Well, that's definitely a weak point that we need to work on. We have put in place about a year ago a structure of 2 people that are only in charge of following up with the winners, actually the 50 finalists. So they have a hotline. They have these 2 people that are here to put them in touch with a mentor, a potential client. And we've recently started a program with an initiative at Stanford called Tech Wadi, which means Silicon Valley in Arabic, where we offer internships for the top 5 winners to come and spend 2 months in Silicon Valley in an incubator to just get exposed, challenged, work more on their idea, but then come back to the region. But we're definitely working more on that, because it's a very important point. Any other question? Yeah.
Jerome Clavel, class of 2003 Kellogg. I was just wondering, because I was surprised you didn't mention it, but the elephant in the room is, with everything that's happened in the Middle East over the last 18 months. What has been the impact of, an organization that's meant to empower innovation and entrepreneurship, and what's kind of the long-term view on that?
Well, yeah, you're right. It's the elephant in the room. It's I could tell you in January 2010 that there would be an Arab Spring. There was such a spur in the application in the number of applications in Tunisia and in Egypt. They have always been great participators to this competition, but the numbers were multiplied by 5. And this was one point on the slide. During times of unrest, we have lots of applications. So today, we have just opened up about 2 weeks ago for this year's competition. I have lots of applications from Syria with what is going on in Syria. And I think what's great about this is that we absolutely need new leaders in this country. I mean, Paul talked about the challenge of having human capital. We don't want the current leaders to remain leaders in the Arab region. We want new leaders. And my dream are that these guys are the leaders of tomorrow. And so there's an urgency to really help them get big today so that 5 years from now, they're popular enough to lead their countries and change the world.
If I may say so, a real Arab Spring. Hala, thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you.